Yay! It's a Friday edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. And yes, indeed, there's a lot to talk about on this Friday in the worst week of sports. Even in the worst week of sports ever, the All-Star break, we have plenty to get to, and we've had plenty to talk about all week. And I appreciate all the support and the love and everybody that's listening / watching the podcast and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's been awesome. And obviously next week training camp starts. Rookies reporting to training camp today. A lot to get to. I've got an ESPN article where the Browns are ranked in the bottom 10 of the league, or the bottom 11 of the league, in terms of skill position talent. Did they get it right? And why are they ranked that low? And should we be concerned about it? I got, obviously, some info on the baseball season getting back going, with the Guardians starting the Big 11 game road trip that I talked about yesterday. A little more into that as that gets back underway tonight as they take on the White Sox with Cal Quantrill on the hill. But I begin with the chosen Rosen joining the Browns. That's coming up. It's the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
everybody does fandom their way.
You've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
So, there's a lot of people in this business. I got to turn my headset volume back up. It's always confusing. All right. So there's a lot of people in this business who can't admit when they're wrong. It's a major flaw. I hate being wrong. Hate it. I want to be right every time I give you an opinion on the air. I talk, as you know, as if my opinions are fact. That's how I talk, because you have to believe what you're saying. I don't say things just to say things, whether it was on the radio show, whether it's on this podcast, whether it's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, or any job I've had before moving to Cleveland. I've never said anything on the air that I didn't believe, that I didn't think was true or likely to happen when I said it at the time. I don't say, unless I'm joking around, obviously, and being sarcastic. But when I'm making an opinion, I'm not saying it to get you to click on anything. I've never done that once in my life. Said anything to try to get somebody to click. I don't make an argument for argument's sake. I don't do any of that. I know there's a percentage of the fan base that doesn't like me, and that's fine. There's a time in your career you want everybody to like you. You realize it's not going to happen if you're interesting at all. If everybody likes you and you do what I do and everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong because you're scared. You're scared to be honest, scared to be real. Now, I've been accused of never admitting I'm wrong, which it's insane because I call myself out because I hate it so much. And the reason I bring all this up is because what the Browns did, unofficially yesterday and become official today, is sign a guy that was a big mistake by me, and that's Josh Rosen. Coming out of college, I thought Josh Rosen was going to be the best quarterback in the draft. And I remember that draft, obviously. You had Sam Darnold, you had Baker Mayfield, you had Josh Allen, you had Lamar Jackson. And for me, it was a mixed bag, right? I got some of it right, some of it wrong, as most people did. I'm sure everybody didn't get them right in the right order, right? You look at those five quarterbacks. Josh Allen's been the best. Lamar Jackson's number 2. Baker's 3. Sam Darnold's 4. And Josh Rosen's been 5. I don't know if Josh Rosen really has been any worse than Sam Darnold, but Darnold's played more, so I guess I'll make them 4 and 5. It really doesn't matter between those two. They're both not any good. But the rankings that I had them in, now, I had Josh Rosen number 1 of the 5. What a idiotic take that was. I was obviously way off. He's been terrible. My number 2 guy, I actually can't remember now if I had Baker 2 or Lamar Jackson 2. I really don't remember. I liked Lamar better than other guys, so I was wrong about, I'm going to say I was obviously wrong about Josh Rosen. That was a disaster. I thought Baker would be good, would be better than he is, not a superstar, but better than he is. So I'm saying I'm wrong on Baker. I thought Lamar was going to be really good, so I'm going to say I'm right on Lamar. I mean, not many people had Lamar in their top 3, so I'll give myself a right on Lamar. I was wrong with Josh Allen, obviously. I didn't think he was going to be very good, and he's phenomenal. And I was right about Sam Darnold. I thought he was overrated. I didn't think he was good. I think I had him 5th of the 5 quarterbacks, so I was right. So I give myself a 2.5. I got 2.5 right, 2.5 wrong. Is that good? Where does that in the pantheon? I saw a video yesterday that the guys at Funhouse put up with Colin Cowherd talking about how Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold were the steals of the draft. So he thought they'd both be good. I didn't do as bad as him. But I think I don't know if he thought Josh Allen was going to be good. I give him credit. Some people did. I don't know if there was a ton of people thought Josh Allen was going to be that good. I mean, I don't think anybody thought Josh Allen was going to be this good. Or even Lamar Jackson. Like, I liked Lamar Jackson more than most people coming out of college, but I didn't think he'd be, as good as he's been. And he didn't have a good year last year, but overall, he's been really good. And I thought he'd be good, but he's probably overall been better than I thought. Allen's obviously been a lot better than I thought. Baker's been worse than I thought. Darnold's been what I thought he would be, and Rosen's been obviously a lot worse than I thought. So maybe I got to look at it as I went 1-4. Disastrous job out of me. You got to admit when you're wrong, and I'll fight you to the death before we know the answer. You know me. I'll argue. People. I'll argue with you all day long. Love it, and I love it. Love arguing, as anybody that knows me knows. But when I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you. You got to do it. I never understood why some guys in this business are scared to be wrong. The smartest GMs in sports get it wrong all the time. We have a great front office with the Guardians. I'm sure they could tell you about all the times they've screwed up. Bill Belichick has made a lot of bad draft picks. The best guys in their sport get it wrong plenty. So there's no shame in getting it wrong in this business either. You fight your point. If you're wrong, you admit it, you move it, and then you keep it moving. And then you pat yourself on the back like I do when I get it right. Why do you think I want Baker? And now at this point, obviously coming out of college, I thought Baker would be good. Now I think he's average at best. And that's part of the reason I don't want him to do well in Carolina, because I don't want to be wrong about Baker at this point. And some people are like, that's not nice. Does Baker care if I'm successful? If I got fired tomorrow and I couldn't get another job in the media, would Baker care? No. And Baker's set for life. I'm not. And I don't expect him to care about me. I'm not rooting for Baker to get fired necessarily. I just, don't want him to have success in Carolina. Nor should any other Browns fan. I want Deshaun Watson to be great and have tremendous success so we can stick it to the Baker Bros. I mean, it's as G would say, it's Betty LeBeau, but that's all right. I embrace that. I really do. In terms of Josh Rosen signing with the Browns, every time something happens, we all try to read into it. What does this mean? The fact that they signed Josh Rosen, who hasn't played that much, as opposed to a guy with a more proven track record, does this mean they think Deshaun Watson's coming back sooner? When I first heard the news of Rosen, I was doing that. Like, I thought, My first reaction was, well, if they signed Rosen as opposed to maybe a Mike Glennon or even an A.J. McCarron, although I don't know that A.J. McCarron's played that much more than Josh Rosen, if at all. In fact, I'm going to look that up right now. I probably should have looked it up before the show, but I didn't really think I'd go down that road. But let's see. A.J. McCarron, he's been in the league longer, obviously, but he's only started 4 games. Yeah, Josh Rosen started more games. I mean, he's played in 17 games. McCarron, but he's only started 4 NFL games. Josh Rosen has started 16 NFL games, 12 touchdowns, 21 picks. Josh Rosen's been awful in his time in the NFL. He was awful in Arizona when he started 13 games, and he was awful in Miami when he played 3 games. He hasn't started a game since those 3 games in Miami in 2019, so he hasn't played in a while. He's only thrown 11 passes since then, coming off the bench last year for Atlanta. He was 2 for 11 through 2 picks. So the guy's been horrendous. Hopefully he will never see the field in the regular season for the Browns. But I think in the end, by the way, I did not know this. Josh Rosen's full name is Joshua Ballinger Lippincott Rosen. Okay, good for him. So we hope Josh Rosen never plays in a regular season game because he's a terrible quarterback. Now, is it always possible a guy could play at some point and maybe turn his career around? I'm sure there's some real deep homers that are like, he didn't get a chance. And Yeah, Josh Rosen's been absolutely awful, and I have no reason to believe he's going to get any better. So let's just not find out. How about that? Let's hope that Josh Rosen never takes the field. But although there was part of me when I first heard the news last night, right? Yeah, yesterday afternoon, whatever it was. I'll admit, there was a part of me, the first reaction, I was like, ooh, I think this is a positive. I think that this maybe means, because the Browns didn't go with someone with more experience or whatever, or they didn't wait to see the result, the public result for Deshaun Watson, that this means they're confident he's going to be suspended for a short amount of games, and they're okay with just a terrible veteran at this point. I guess, yeah, Josh Rosen's a veteran, a terrible veteran who you never want to see out there, as opposed to waiting for Watson, and then if it's longer than expected, get aggressive and go after Jimmy Garoppolo. My first reaction was that this was I put a positive spin on it. And then I had to be realistic about it. Not that I have a negative spin. I didn't go the opposite way, but I'm back to neutral on I don't think this is meaningful one way or the other. I don't think it means they know for sure it's going to be a short suspension. Unfortunately, that's the case. And by the way, I'm sure Josh Rosen is getting no guaranteed money. So even if they did find out today that that Deshaun Watson was suspended for a year, if that happens, hopefully not, of course, but if it did, they could still go trade for Jimmy Garoppolo if they wanted, and signing Josh Rosen would be a non-factor. So I think in the end, because there's a good chance. Now, again, I don't think I've seen the money on it yet. I'm sure it's league veteran minimum, whatever it is. I mean, there's no way he's getting any kind of serious money because he's been an absolutely awful quarterback in the league who's lucky to have a job, honestly. I think that it's to be fair, it's a complete non-factor as to what's going on with the Watson suspension. Again, I'm like a lot of you. I wanted to read into this and take a positive spin on it, but realistically, there's no way it's a factor at all. Zero. All right, betonline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the number one online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news for every league, including golf, esports, combat sports, whatever you're looking for, they've got you covered. Wagering information, live in-game betting, scores, podcasts, they got you covered. Head to BetOnline today, like so many others have. It's great, fantastic. Or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening this afternoon. BetOnline, where the game starts. A little water break there for you. I'm sure you enjoyed that moment. All right. So ESPN has been putting up some, what I found interesting content on their ESPN Plus. And the article today is from Bill Barnwell, who I really like. I think Bill Barnwell does an excellent job for ESPN. The headline, I think this came out, it might have come out yesterday, but I'm not seeing it till this morning. So Friday morning. So NFL wide receiver, here's what he says. NFL wide receiver, tight end, running back rankings for all 32 teams in 2022, stacking the best and worst offensive playmakers. Now, I think when most of you hear this, I think a lot of you will put the Browns in the top 10 because of their great running back tandem and just their great running back depth in general. But there's a couple of things to account here for this list. Now, fair or not, if you read the column before he starts making the rankings, Bill Barnwell says this. He is weighing, here we go, wide receivers are more heavily weighted than running backs or tight ends. The league values wide receivers at a different tier than other skill position players. The top of the wide receiver market was reset this offseason by Devontae Adams and then Tyreek Hill, with the latter player taking home $24.3 million per season in real money over the first 3 years of his new deal. That's way more than the top players at running back or tight end, where the market tops out at just over $13 million in real money per season over years 1 to 3. As such, wide receivers are treated as more valuable properties than backs or tight ends. Furthermore, since it's easier to find several competent players than it is to acquire a true superstar. Players who are at the very top of their position get the highest marks. As a result, teams with top end wide receiver talent do well on this list, while deep teams built around running backs aren't as impressive. After reading that, I'm sure you will reevaluate whether you think the Browns are top 10. Now, honestly, in terms of skill position, taking out the quarterback, just running back, wide receiver, and tight end, I would not have the Browns in the top 10. You know how I feel about this team. I think they're a very talented team. But if you just compare running back, wide receiver, tight end combined, especially in his case where he's weighing running back to a lesser degree, it's not unfair. He makes a good point. Wide receivers get paid more. The league looks at wide receivers. I just banged my toe. Trying to hold it in. Bang my toe on the side of my table. All right, go suck it up. The league does value wide receivers more by the amount they pay them. That's true. You can't deny that. And you win with passing the ball, not with running the ball. That being said, I still think he has the Browns ranked too low. The Browns on this list are ranked 21st in terms of skill position group. Worse than that, 23rd. So it isn't in the bottom third of the league at 23rd. Here's what he talks about. No doubt the running game, he says the running back group is in the top tier with the Packers, Vikings, and Colts for the league's best 1-2 punches. He says, I'm just not sure about the receivers. I love the Browns getting Amari Cooper on a salary dump when other veteran wideouts were netting first-round picks, but Cooper took a step backward last season. Even if he's back to his old self, though, the Browns are going to have a trio of mid-round picks competing for a starting role in Donovan Peoples-Jones, Anthony Schwartz, and David Bell. And at tight end, their best player is David Njoku. Listen, if you are giving wide receivers a higher value in terms of because they make more money, you're giving them a higher grade, factor. I can't think of the word. I'm losing my mind right now. If you're weighing it more heavily, wide receivers, then the Browns are going to be lower. I would still put them higher. He's got the Washington Commanders 22nd. I don't see where they have a pass receiving group any better than the Browns. I mean, I do like McCarron a little more than I like Amari Cooper, but I think the difference in the backfield is much bigger for the Browns. So I put them ahead of there. Then you go to New Orleans, and they got Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, and Chris Olave. And he says, or also in this article, he gives the rookies very little value because they're unproven, and that's fair. And yet he has them higher. I think it's close. I do love Alvin Kamara a lot. He may get suspended too. It hasn't been talked about as much, but there's still a possibility he's going to get suspended. I do like the Saints skill position talent. So I don't know that I can put the Browns ahead of the Saints, honestly, in terms of skill position talent. Then let's see. Number 20 is the Colts. And now, again, this one I don't understand. I think Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor are of equal footing. They're elite running backs. Kareem Hunt is much better than any other back the Colts have, and Amari Cooper, to me, is better than anybody the Colts have at wide receiver. I don't understand that. Again, Tennessee, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, same plane. Browns have a much better second running back. Their top wide receiver is Robert Woods, good player, but he's coming off a big injury. And what's their tight ends? It's not like they have a standout tight end either. They have Austin Hooper. So, and they added Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but again, I don't know that he's any better than the Browns tier of receivers, and they got Kareem Hunt, and to me, Kareem Hunt's a factor in that passing game. So I would have the Browns, and Derrick Henry's coming off a big injury last year. Carolina. So according to this, he thinks that Baker Mayfield upgraded his skill position talent. Again, I don't see it. He said in this article, you have to factor in injury. Christian McCaffrey's played 10 games the last 2 years. He's a great player. Even when he's been, unlike Saquon Barkley, who's been bad when he's been on the field the last couple of years, McCaffrey's been great when he's been on the field, when he's not been injured, but he's been injured so much he barely played last year. And what else do they have? I mean, who's their next bet? Robbie Anderson? They have DJ Moore, who's a good receiver. I don't know that DJ Moore's any better than Amari Cooper. I don't know. I mean, I guess I give Carolina a slight edge at wide receiver over the Browns, but I think the Browns got a big edge in the backfield. The Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a nice rookie season. TJ Hawkinson certainly better at tight end than anything the Browns have. And I love DeAndre Swift. I mean, I do think the Lions have decent skill position talent, but again, I got the Browns ahead of the Lions. I think I would have the Browns, even the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs' depth at wide receiver without Tyreek Hill, but I don't love any of their receivers individually. I think they got some solid guys. The Browns have a better backfield. Now, obviously, the Chiefs have a huge edge at tight end, but he said tight end wasn't weighed any heavier than running back. 15 is Arizona. Browns are much better in the backfield. DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for 6 games. I don't love James Conner. Zach Ertz is, okay. They got Marquise Brown. He's a good player. I mean, obviously they're wide receiver. I think you can make an argument for Arizona being better, although I really don't like their backfield. I think that's the debate. I think both the Browns and the Saints should be significantly higher. He's got the Seahawks at 13. I do like that team. They don't have a proven back, although I'm really high on Rashad Penny. I love the way he played at the end of last year. But, again, he's had major injury issues. Their wide receiving core is really strong. Steelers are 12. The Steelers have a better skill position group than the Browns. Browns, big edge in the backfield. I'd give the Steelers a slight edge at tight end. I give them a solid edge at wide receiver. Yeah, I guess I'd have to give the Steelers an edge overall at skill position. I think at that point now we're talking about skill position groups that are better than the Browns. I would probably have the Browns around 15. I'd move them up. I'd move New Orleans up. I do think they're behind Denver. Seattle, it's close. I think the Browns are right there with Seattle and New Orleans and Arizona in like that, and Kansas City in what would be like 13 to 16. I think when you look at it, I think, in my opinion, it's one opinion. Bill Barnwell's got his, whatever. That's fine. He's highly respected. I think the guy's great. He is entitled to his opinion, so I'm not going to rip him. I disagree with him. I don't think the Browns should be 23rd. I think they should be closer to the middle of the pack. However, I think it does. If you think the Browns have a top 5 or even top 10 skill position group, now, if you weigh running back evenly, well, then the Browns are going to be higher. I'm still not sure they get into the top 10. They'd probably be close if you weigh all the position groups evenly. You can't weigh running back heavier. That wouldn't make any sense. But if you weigh them evenly, then there's a case to be made that the Browns certainly could be higher, maybe top 10. Who knows? But I thought it was an interesting list. And so there you go. All right, take another break. When I come back, got some thoughts on the baseball season get back underway with a few games yesterday and the Guardians playing tonight. I got some other odds and ends from the NFL. That and a whole lot more coming up next right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. All right, thankfully baseball is back. Hasn't been much to watch on TV the last couple of days, but I have started this show. If you haven't checked it out, I wasn't really, for whatever reason, I wasn't that interested when I first heard about it, but a buddy of mine's like, this is really good. You should watch it. And you know me. If you know me at all, you know I'm obsessed with watching good TV shows. The show is called The Offer. For those who don't know, The Offer is about the making of the movie Godfather, The Godfather. It stars Miles Teller as Al Ruddy, who was the producer of the movie. Giovanni Ribisi, who I love, as Joe Colombo, who was one of the heads of the 5 families in New York. Matthew Good plays the head of the studio there. I don't really know Matthew Good before this. I like him in this. Juno Temple, who you may know, she is the younger woman in Ted Lasso, and she's great as Al Ruddy's / Miles Teller's assistant. And whatever, and in this, I'm only up to episode 3, and they just introduced the guy playing Al Pacino. I think he's doing a good job, and eventually the guy playing Marlon Brando, will be on. It'll be interesting to see if the guy can pull that off, because playing Marlon Brando will be interesting. There's 10 episodes. I'm in the 3rd episode. It's been really good. Now, I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know, how accurate they are, but if it is accurate, and I'm not gonna read into it now because I don't want to hear things that because I didn't know about a lot of this stuff, but this is crazy what it took to get this movie made with the families, the 5 families getting involved, and the head of the company that owned Paramount at the time. There was some. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Again, I don't know how accurate this is. How much poetic license they took in making this show about a movie. But it's entertaining, very entertaining. Miles Teller's a really good actor. I don't know, something about him that irritates me sometimes, but he is a really good actor. So I'll give him that. But that being said, I'll be glad to have a Guardians game to watch tonight. And if you do have, cable service or DirecTV, I know at least on DirecTV they're showing, if you're interested in watching other baseball games and you don't want to pay for MLB Extra Innings package, it's free, at least on DirecTV for a week. Probably a lot of other cable services are doing the same thing as well. Guardians tonight will take on the White Sox. As I mentioned yesterday, it's a big 11-game road trip leading up to the trade deadline. Unfortunately, the game's on Apple TV tonight, so I didn't want to go down that road again. I'm just so annoyed by that. I love Apple TV, but it's unfair to the fans that so many won't be able to watch it. Cal Quantrill, Lucas Giolito tonight. Giolito's not pitched well. Quantrill's not pitched great. And it's an 8-10 start tonight. So, I mean, by the time you listen to this, maybe the game's already over. I don't know. We'll talk about it next week. Hopefully it's a big weekend for the Guardians. One other thing I wanted to hit on before the end of the show is another column at ESPN that, probably worth checking out. Not a surprise here, though. Every NFL team's strongest position group. And let's see what it says about all the 4 teams in the AFC North. For the Browns, obviously, it's running back, no doubt. I mean, I don't think that was a debate. It says everybody knows about Nick Chubb. You got Kareem Hunt. You got Dearness Johnson. Browns position group is running back, no surprise. The Bengals group is wide receiver. I think no surprise there either. The Ravens, safety. That's what they have for the Ravens, the safety. Chuck Clark remains solid veteran. But the 2 newcomers, Marcus Williams, signed from the Saints, and Kyle Hamilton, Baltimore's top draft choice, who transformed the Union. I don't know. I mean, if safety is your top position and you're basing that part on a draft pick, that would have me concerned. If my top position were banking on a guy who's never played in the NFL, I'd be a little concerned about that if I'm a Ravens fan. For the Steelers, they say pass rush. He says it's a bit of a cheat since the pass rush in Pittsburgh incorporates both edge rush linebackers, and down linemen, but they gave it pass rush. All right, whatever. So for the Bengals and Browns, it's on the offensive side. For the Steelers and Ravens, it's on the defensive side. That's not a great surprise. More to come. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, please. There you go, at Adam the Bull. Make sure you are subscribed to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. When you do, and if you click on the bell, the little bell up there gives you notifications. It will give you notifications of all our live show on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, all our videos that we put out for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If we have a bonus show, when Baker got traded, G. Bush and Mike and I stayed on. Not stayed on. We came back on and did a bonus show. We'll do the same thing if Deshaun Watson, once the Deshaun Watson suspension comes out. If it doesn't happen while we're actually on live, we will break in and do it, unless I'm on vacation, because I'm going on vacation the first week of August. I have this bad feeling it's going to happen when I'm away. I hope not, but anyway, I can't cancel my vacation. I'm going. I'm looking forward to it. But we'll have a bonus show, and we got some other exciting things to announce about the show coming up for the football season that you can be really excited about. And also, when my podcasts come out, you'll get an alert on that as well. So please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notifications. My show's under the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tab on YouTube. So please do that. Also, check out the Locked On Browns podcast if you're not doing it already. G. Bush and Jeff Lloyd with him. And check me out on Cameo if you want me to make videos for birthdays or engagements or whatever. Ripping your buddy for fantasy football, I will be there for you. I will talk to you Monday. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. Have a great weekend, everybody.